Before they were political enemies facing off in the nation's most famous duel, Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr were two of post-revolutionary New York's young attorneys. Born in the West Indies, Hamilton rose from an orphan to a trusted right-hand man of George Washington, later serving as the first Secretary of the Treasury and architect of the American financial system. Burr, a graduate of Princeton, then the College of New Jersey, was born into an influential family. He was a Continental Army officer who became Attorney General of New York and ultimately the Vice President of the United States. Most people know their story ends bitterly, but to understand their final climax, we have to look back to where their rivalry developed in the decades prior, including right here on Long Island. Years before they exchanged gunfire, Hamilton and Burr were dueling each other in the courtroom. In 1784, a high-stakes lawsuit brought them head-to-head over Joseph Lloyd Manor on Lloyd's Neck on the north shore of Long Island.
During the Revolution, British troops occupied the manor, constructing Fort Franklin while cutting down thousands of trees and damaging the property. After the war, the New York State Legislature passed the Trespass Act of 1783, allowing patriot landowners to sue anyone who occupied or damaged their property while under British rule. John Lloyd II hired Aaron Burr to sue Loyalist Captain Charles Hewlett for trespass and £2,000 in damages. Hamilton, on the other hand, stepped up to defend Hewlett. Hamilton opposed anti-Tory legislation, claiming that it violated the 1783 peace treaty with Great Britain and that it threatened the young nation's political and economic stability.
Although Hamilton had built a reputation representing former Loyalists, he didn't come out on top here. In 1790, the jury ruled in favor of Burr's client, acting as one of the sparks of their personal and political rivalry. Fast forward to July 1804, Burr is the vice president to Thomas Jefferson, and Hamilton is the former Treasury Secretary. Hamilton's persistent years-long libeling of Burr was too sincere to deny, and Burr's patience wore out, leading him to formally challenge Hamilton to a duel. If Hamilton didn't participate, his reputation would be bruised, and he was not prepared to step away from public life. Honor mattered because character mattered, and character mattered because the fate of the American experiment with Republican government still required virtuous leaders to survive. Fraunces Tavern is one of the oldest buildings in Manhattan. The Sons of Liberty gathered here to plot against British rule before the war. It's where General George Washington bid farewell to his officers after the British left New York in 1783, and just a week before their duel, Hamilton and Burr sat down here for dinner during a meeting of the Society of the Cincinnati, a fraternal organization meant to preserve the ideals of the American Revolution. Taking the ferry across the Hudson River to New Jersey, this traces the path Hamilton and Burr took in separate rowboats early on a foggy Wednesday morning. Duelists chose New Jersey because New York had strict anti-dueling laws, and the secluded ledges beneath the Weehawken cliffs provided privacy.
I'm standing now in Hamilton Park, high on the Weehawken Palisades. The actual narrow ledge where the duel took place sat lower down the cliffside. On the morning of July 11, 1804, Hamilton and Burr stood 10 paces apart. Their pistols were raised and 2 shots rang out. Hamilton's bullet struck high in the branches, whether on purpose or by accident remains debated. But Burr's shot was fatal, striking Hamilton in the lower abdomen.
Hamilton was rowed back to Manhattan, where he died the next day. The popular belief was that Burr had murdered Hamilton in cold blood. Burr was never tried for the murder charges he faced afterward, but his political career effectively ended.